not pose a threat. Ideally, to better understand the UFO phenomenon, we would need to set up a national civil agency, independent of any military structure, but having the same investigative privileges as police detectives, and whose primary objective would not be to protect Canadian territory, but rather to study UFOs. Utopia? No. An agency such as this does exist. It is the only one of its kind in the world, called CIPRA.
La France s'est dotée d'un organisme.
Within France's National Space Research Center, CNES, there is a civil agency dedicated to studying aerospace, since CNES's mission is to study satellites, rockets, and anything else that passes through France's aerospace.
Les fusées et tout ce qui se passe dans l'environnement aérospatial. Donc le CNES.
In 1977, when Minister Robert Galli was interviewed by a journalist regarding the strange apparitions seen after the war, commonly referred to as UFOs, the minister admitted to the journalist that the French police force had received accounts of bizarre incidents and that they were planning on studying them, but more from a scientific point of view, rather than a journalistic perspective, or simply for media hype.
Eh bien, essayons d'étudier.
CNES was tasked with setting up an agency for this purpose, and it was given the name GEPAN.
Un petit organisme d'études qui s'appelle à l'époque le GEPAN. Donc le GEPAN.
GEPAN was monitored by a scientific council. It was not just left on its own to study these matters. It was told that the Scientific Council had laid out a path for Japan so that it could gather information, analyze it, and formulate conclusions on what was behind this flying saucer phenomenon.
Et puis dire qu'est-ce qu'il y avait derrière le phénomène des soucoupes volantes, comme on l'expliquait à l'époque. Dès 1977,
when Japan was created in 1977, CNES set up agreements and protocols with all civil and military agencies, defining the roles of each agency.
Définir le rôle de chacun. Par exemple,
the French police force and air force are responsible for collecting information, since pilots naturally observe objects in the sky as part of their job. Pilots report any strange sightings to the police, who pass the information on to us here at CEPRA. We then analyze the reports and offer our expert opinion on the matter.
Ici, au CEPRA, et c'est nous ensuite qui analysons et expertisons les témoignages qui sont recueillis. Donc depuis ce système fonctionne.
The system has been working this way since 1977. Today, we have all of the information stored in a database. Every incident reported is entered into the computer. We now have a very large volume of information, with close to 6,000 reports.
Rassembler l'ensemble des témoignages, nous aurons à peu près 6 000 témoignages qui vont être dans notre base de données, et ça nous permet
This will enable us to prepare an analysis of the sightings reported over the past 50 years or so.
Depuis pratiquement 50 ans.
The cooperation established between the agencies has allowed for vital exchanges of information.
Permet d'avoir des échanges tout à fait intéressants, puisque
when we first set up this cooperative effort, procedures were put in place, and each police officer knows what to do if an incident occurs. If it's simply a case of a person reporting something that they saw in the sky, a report is filled out and it ends there. The report is sent to our office a few weeks later.
Un rapport est simplement constitué et ce rapport nous arrive quelques semaines après. Mais lorsqu'il y a des
But when the incident is more complicated and difficult to understand, especially when there are physical elements to be examined, such as marks on the ground, then the police contact us directly, and we respond quickly with tools for analyzing these elements that the police and army do not have. The police and army do not carry out any actual investigations of the UFO phenomenon. They leave that up to the CNES.
Engagés par l'armée ou la gendarmerie sur ces phénomènes. Non, ils se remettent totalement au niveau du CNES pour faire l'étude de ces manifestations.
On January 8, 1981, in the French town of Trans-en-Provence, a man working in his garden saw a bright, oval-shaped object come down from the sky and land on a field near his house. The object seemed to be made from some sort of polished metal and was about the size of a compact car. It didn't have any visible traits to help identify what type of aircraft it might be. The object remained on the ground for a few seconds, then silently took off and disappeared into the sky. At the scene of the incident, the witness noticed that the object had left a circular trace on the ground, approximately 7 feet in diameter. He contacted the police, who then advised GIPAN, as CIPRA was known at the time. Analysis of the site revealed abnormalities in both the soil and the vegetation. No satisfactory explanation was ever given, and the incident remains unclassified.
La grande difficulté, c'est de passer.
The most difficult part of the process is getting from the point where a person has seen something to an understanding of what has been seen. Information is lost along the way. From the time that the incident is first reported to the time that an explanation is proposed. We have to try and come up with something that can be understood.
Quelque chose d'assez compréhensible. Alors, que représentent ces phénomènes?
What do these phenomena represent on a global scale? Of the cases reported since the 1950s, approximately 12% remain unexplained. What exactly does this 12% correspond to? It's a variety of phenomena with a particular set of physical and technologically advanced characteristics. It could be an object that zigzags across the sky, or it could be a craft that moves silently and causes lights to flicker in a nearby car.
Provoquer des interruptions de lumière lorsque quelqu'un est en voiture et qu'il va croiser une manifestation. Ça peut être.
It could be people who see strange forms near the ground, which suddenly disappear into thin air. It's a whole slew of incidents that cannot be lumped in with known phenomena.
Assimilés à des phénomènes connus.
On January 28, 1994, while flying at an altitude of approximately 39,000 feet, the crew of an Air France Airbus noticed a large red disc flying to the left of their aircraft, approximately 25 nautical miles away. The object remained visible for a few seconds, then changed shape and disappeared. Controllers at the Taverny Air Defense Operations Center, who were ensuring radar coverage of the area at the time, saw an unidentified radar blip on their screens, which was crossing the Airbus's path. Then it disappeared off their screens. As unusual as this may seem, this sighting by the Air France crew was not an isolated incident. Each year, agencies that ensure air transportation safety face incidents such as this. Most of these agencies are overseen by ICAO, the International Civil Aviation Organization. These inexplicable sightings rarely make the headlines. However, in a lot of these cases, the passenger's safety has been compromised. On August 9, 1997, a Swissair Boeing 737 on its way from New York to Philadelphia barely missed colliding with an unidentified flying object. On January 6, 1995, a few minutes before touching down at Manchester Airport in England, a British Airways Boeing 737 almost collided with a bright triangular-shaped object. The UFO was moving silently and was undetected by radar. In August 1984, a Condair Airlines aircraft had to make an emergency landing at Ipswich Airport in England after hitting an unidentified flying object. British civil aviation inspectors reported that the aircraft had sustained major damage to one of its engines, a window, part of its fuselage, one of the ailerons, and the hydraulic cables. In every one of these cases, no one was ever able to offer a rational explanation, neither the civil aviation investigators nor Jean-Jacques Velasco of CIPRA.
Alors la position du CIPRA par rapport à ces cas inexpliqués est la suivante. Nous avons
With regards to these unexplained cases, SEPRA's position is that we often see phenomena that do not correspond to any technology that we are aware exists today. If we don't have this technology, then it must come from somewhere else. And if it comes from somewhere else, then the only reasonable theory we can put forth is that it comes from outer space. This cannot be verified in itself because, obviously, we do not have the means to interpret these phenomena. But it's a theory that scientists can work with.
In France, we've had a unique situation since 1977 when CNES created an agency dedicated to studying UFOs. It was created by Claude Poher, an engineer who is now retired. At the time, he was head of the Systems and Projects Division at CNES, and he became interested in the subject after reading the Condon report and concluding that the subject must be interesting if you can write 1,000 pages about it and then turn around and reject what was written. He then launched a series of investigations, which continued over time. In the early 80s, SEPRA took over from Japan, since CNES no longer considered the matter a priority. It had never really been a top priority. But in the 1980s, CNES became more interested in other issues. What I'm saying is that for some time now, we've had a group studying UFOs. This group has raised controversy over the years, since UFO researchers believe that they might be hiding the truth, just like the American government has been accused of hiding the truth about UFOs. The question is just how much can be done? I find it interesting that the French scientific community has undertaken such a task, because it requires an open dialogue between them and the public. In the first few years, a lot was accomplished by Claude Poher and Alain Esterle, the founders of Japan. Unfortunately, in the later years, SEPRA was not able to keep up with demand, and it did not release much information. Its primary mission was to study phenomena in the atmosphere. They were also investigating UFOs, but they seemed to put a lot less time and effort into that side of their operations. And there was no clear policy on follow-up of investigations. Controversy sprung up between SEPRA and UFO researchers, who wanted to be the spokespersons on the subject since they were so familiar with it. But Poher and Alain Esterle would just give him the brush off, saying, "No, we're working on it. Just wait and see what we're doing. We can't always be answering letters and phone calls. They're just too much to handle." This created a polarization between the two groups, and SEPRA was suspected of hiding the truth. I don't think that SEPRA has been hiding anything. They're just trying to do their jobs. The problem lies in the fact that scientists feel that UFOs aren't important. They have other things to do, while ufologists feel that UFOs are important and efforts should be focused solely on them. They're caught between a rock and a hard place. To add to the problems, CNES has never considered SEPRA a priority, so it has never provided the group with the means that it requires to do its job properly. The group still exists and is still carrying on its work, but at a slower pace. No reports have been produced since Japan became SEPRA. Progress doesn't seem to get past the discussion stage, as is the case for the 1981 Trans-en-Provence incident, in which a witness saw a spacecraft landing on the ground. The case was investigated by Japan and is still being discussed, but hardly any progress has been made since the original investigation.
Since the end of World War II, several civil agencies have come face to face with UFOs. The number of unclassified cases keeps on growing. Even though a lot of information is still inaccessible, the thousands of pages of information released to the public over the past few years only go to prove that the phenomenon is a lot more significant than we were led to believe. Throughout the public and the media, skeptics and believers continue to debate the theory of visitors from outer space. Discussions might be more productive if we could study the facts without prejudice, instead of simply judging a book by its cover. In the end, people will believe what they want to believe.